Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm going to show you how I made the card that I posted on my blog last Saturday. And it was a design challenge from Casually Crafting blog that I belong to. And it's Stampin' Up demonstrators across the world. We all have the same pattern or the same stamps or the same challenge. And this was this month's challenge. Now when I looked at it, it reminded me of a gatefold card. So that's what I went with. I made a gatefold card and these sides here were the actual gates. So I'm going to show you what I made and how I actually made it. I started off with real red. I'm going to make a Christmas card and I have just a few scraps of this paper. Now this is the Heartwarming Hugs paper. And it was last year's paper, it was the 2020 paper. And this year it came back because it was like a customer favourite. But I only had a few bits and pieces in this pack. My full pack is still on its way to me. It didn't arrive in time. So I had to use the bits and pieces in here. So I'm using this designer series paper and then just one little piece from the Whimsy and Wonder, and I'm actually using this spotty one. So let's move that out of the way. Now the colours in this paper are Pear Pizzazz, Real Red and Mossy Meadow, and the spotty paper is Mossy Meadow, and so I'm using Real Red and Pear Pizzazz cards. And then I'm also using something else that was something that stayed over from last year's catalogue, and it's the Perfectly Plaid set. I'm going to just use this one sentiment and I'm using the matching Pine Tree Punch. So it was nice to get those things out again because I'd put them away last year and I didn't think they would carry over, so it was fun to be able to use them again. Now to make the gatefold card, we don't score down the middle. We score each side here so that when it closes, it looks like a gate, and that's where it gets its name from. So I've got just a basic card base of 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm going to score the left-hand side, and I'm going to score it at 2 1/8. So I'm putting it in my trimmer at 2, and then it's the second little mark over. So that's the 1/8 mark, and I'm going to score it. Now, to make the other side of the gatefold, you can turn your card around and again score at 2 1/8. Or, if you prefer not to have to score again, what you can do is just score one side, fold it over, excuse me getting my bone folder out, go over this with your bone folder, and then push this right-hand side until the edge meets your left-hand side flap, and then just go down with your bone folder. So you can score at each side, or you can score one side and fold over. If you use the fold over method, it means that you know you're going to get it bang on, and it's going to be just in the right place. Now I've cut two pieces of the designer series paper, that Heartwarming Hugs paper, and it was just one full piece like this, and each of these are 1 7/8 by 5 1/4, and that just gives a nice little border all the way around. But if you check on my blog, I'll have all the measurements and the numbers down, so you don't need to worry. Okay, so we're going to put one on each side like this. I'm going to get my stamping seal and I'm just going to attach those. Oops. Let's get started. No, it doesn't want to play. Let's move it along a bit more. There we go. I'm just going to put a little bit in that corner there where I missed. Oh, and I just have to check that this lines up still. I don't want to put one on upside down, or it would drive your eyes crazy. I won't turn that round because then I will get it upside down. I'm just going to fold it so that I can see the same little border all the way around. And it's tricky to see this right hand side, so I'm just going to pop a little white piece in just to make sure I got it even. Yes, I did. Okay, and check that this is still the right way. Yeah. Let's put some adhesive on here. You could use your liquid Tombow adhesive. You could even use tear and tape, whichever adhesive you find works better for you. Okay, so making sure that's right. I'm going to close that little gate up and open this one so I can see the white here instead of the red. So again, I can get a better view. There we go. Oh, that's that little bit of fluff there. Okay. Now this piece does have to go in the middle, but I'm not going to put it in yet because I want to stamp on it. Okay, so there we've got the basic gatefold. So that's this part here. And you see it's got that little white stripe down. Well, I imagined that as having this little white stripe when the gates were slightly open. So the next thing I needed was these little pieces that went across. And for that, I used my stitched rectangle dies. If you don't have stitched rectangles, you could use the Stitch So Sweetly dies, or you could just cut rectangles with your paper trimmer. But I used these ones, and I didn't choose the first one in the box. I chose the next two because I thought they were just the right kind of size for what I wanted. It just matched up really nicely. So with the larger one, I've cut 2 pieces of the Pear Pizzazz, and with the smaller one, I've cut 2 pieces of the basic white, not the thick, just the ordinary basic white card. So they're those pieces. And I'm going to use my Perfectly Plaid for my sentiment, and I'm just using the Merry Christmas. So you can see I used this a lot. I loved this stamp set when it came out, and the matching punch. I thought it was so pretty. And let's pop this onto a block, and I'm going to use my real red ink. I haven't used this much this year. I haven't made many sort of Christmas cards in reds and greens. I've been using the Whimsy and Wonder, where it's the pinks and the Misty Moonlight. Okay, so I'm not going to use that one. I want to use this one. Just, there we go. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment off to the left. So just lining it up. I'm going to hold it for a couple of seconds. Okay, so it's not centered because I want to put something at this right hand side. I'm going to get my chamois. The red ink does stain your stamps, but it doesn't make any difference to them when you're actually stamping. The stain doesn't transfer or anything. And then I'm thinking to put something on the inside. So I might just put this one. May this special season be wrapped in love and joy. Or I could even stamp a tree. Tell you what, let's stamp a tree. Let me go and get my Pear Pizzazz ink and we'll stamp it in that. Okay, here I am, back again. So let's put the red away. And I'm going to take this one off and let's get that tree. Pop this one back in. And I'm going to use the one that looks like a tree, not with the pattern on. So to open the Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to find the white piece that's going to go in the middle of my card. And then I'm just going to stamp this on the bottom once, and then, whoops, then I'm going to stamp it again, sort of at half strength. Let's just put that bit back on there. There we go. I'll close this one up. And we'll just clean that stamp as we go along. And then if I knock it over or if it falls on the carpet or anything, I know there's no ink on it. There we go. I'll move the block because we don't need that anymore. Now let's go back to our gatefold piece. I'm going to attach this to the inside. right in the middle of that gatefold. Yeah. Okay, and that just gives you a little bit of something to look at on the inside. You could do the same little pattern on your envelope as well, or you could use a little bit more of the designer series paper, and so that it would all match. I'll take an envelope out so you can see what I mean. You can either stamp these in the corner or use a little bit more of the paper and pop it over the envelope flap, glue it on, and then just cut. Oh, let's pop that there. And then you just cut round here and your envelope will match as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to attach these two white pieces to the pear pizzazz, and I'm going to use my liquid glue for this. And then if I don't get it quite straight away, it doesn't matter. I can wiggle it. You've got a little bit of setting time with this glue. I just want to make sure that they're centered on the card. There we go. Pop this one onto here. Okay. And then the next thing I'm going to need is the little bit of the spotty paper that I showed you. Just going to rub on the back of those just to make sure the edges are stuck down. You could do that also with your bone folder. Let's move that piece out of the way. So these are the little spotty pieces from the Whimsy and Wonder, and I'm just going to use my punch, and I'm going to punch out 3 pieces. I'm not sure which ones are going to be long enough, but these are from another project, and these are the little pieces I had left over. So I'm just going to punch out 3. And if you didn't want to stamp the inside of your card, you could always just punch out another of these little trees and pop that in instead. Okay, let's move these pieces out of the way because we don't need those. And I'm going to put our little cards that we made here onto the front. And I want it to be so that this side of this card is attached and the right hand side of this card is attached, so that when you open it you'll have a piece on each side. And I'm going to glue that on first, so I'm just going to measure and just sort of eyeball really where the center will be, and then I'm going to attach just the first half. So I'm going to use my glue, because I find for things like this, this sticks better, it bonds quicker, and I've gone about halfway across. Then I'm going to close my gatefold up, pop that on, and make sure that I've only got that left hand side gluing down. Okay, and so there's no adhesive showing here. And then I'm going to do exactly the same but at the opposite side on this one. So we'll put the adhesive on the right hand side. I'm going to close the card up again, add this here so that it's in line with the top piece. Just hold it for a second. Oops, hold it for a second so that it sticks down. And now we've got that little opening. Now I've got a little mark on here. I'm going to erase it if it'll come off, but I've actually going to stick something over. Oh, but it came off anyway. There we go. Now, the 3 little pieces that we punched out for our trees are going to go on the front as well. And I'm going to pop 1, 2 here with a little bit of a white space at the right. And I'm going to pop the other one here. So just let me see. Move it up a little bit like this. In fact, that might just be a little bit too high. I wonder if I just cut off. I'm going to cut the little stems off because it's just a tiny bit too high. And that's my own fault for not measuring it. when I put the card on. So there, I'm going to pop it on like this. And I'm just going to put it on with a dimensional, just so that it stands off a little bit. Let's see how much I need. So I don't want them off to the right hand side, look. So I'm going to put one to the right and then this one, and let me just check. Oh, I might need a little piece at the top, so I'm going to cut off one of the tiny pieces here. Or you could use the mini dimensionals as well. There we go. Take the back ends off. And then this right hand side here, as we look at it, that won't be attached, but that's just fine. Okay. If you felt like this was going to bend as you put it in an envelope, you could put a little tiny piece of, a little dimensional underneath, or a little tiny piece of dimensional. Now let me just see. I wonder if we should have one with the stem and then one without. No, I'm going to take the stems off both of them. Oh, that's a little bit jagged there, look. That's because my punch must need sharpening again. Okay, so this one I'm going to glue flat. And so I'm going to have one raised and one flat. So I'm just measuring to see where I'd like them. The flat one is going to go in the middle here. And the raised one, I'm just going to pop dimensionals on the back. Take the back ends off and pop this one on. There we go. Now I would like to add some little rhinestones. So if I just get my rhinestone box out, you could add any colour you wanted. I'm going to put on some of our clear rhinestones. So let me see. These are the big ones. I wonder if I've got some that are open and just the small ones. No, maybe not. Maybe not in this box. Let's see. I think these are still big ones. Yeah. And then I've got pearls and things in the bottom. That's not what I wanted, but that's okay. We can make a different plan. We can use either the holiday rhinestones ones because they're a little bit smaller. You could use the red ones, but I'm just going to, oh look, there's some hiding under there. I'm just going to use these small ones here. I'll find my pick up tool and I'm just going to put some, whoops, some on each of the trees. Just gives it a little bit of shine. If you wanted, you could put a little bit of Wink of Stella on, and that would sort of make it glow as well. Okay, I'm going to put one more on there so that I've got one on the top, and then that makes an odd number here, and I'm just going to pop some on this one as well. But you certainly don't have to. There we go. So there is my finished card. Let's move all these out of the way. And here is our original sketch. So I've got the little rectangles going across. The white line is the inside of the card, and these pieces down here are the gatefold pieces. So thank you for watching me. Make sure that if you go back to my blog, you see what everybody else has made as well, because there are some stunning projects this time. So take care everyone, and thank you again for joining me. I'll see you all again really soon. Bye bye.